Moon, Sun and Stars, I lasted till 2022, by the way, because, like, for real, the games in this video are some of the biggest ones I've ever done. You know, this is the 5th year I've done the most anticipated video as well. Like, the first one was in 2018. I mean, it's weird to think if this series was a person, it would be old enough to have its favourite Minecraft YouTuber or something. I mean, I guess it's also sad my own videos would rather watch somebody else than me, but hey, sometimes your kids are a disappointment. Just ask my dad. Alright, I'm gonna start now. Hey guys, I'm Comire, this is Start and Select, and here are my most anticipated games of 2022. Witch with the waist. Bayonetta lives up to every part of the phrase drop dead sexy. Wrapped in leather and guns, looking like a goth girl sat in that bar your dad is too afraid to go into. Bayonetta annihilates enemies with huge punches and kicks, the occasional medieval torture device, and now a 3-barrel gun on every limb so she can finally fire off almost as many loads as the majority of her male fan base. Bayonetta has moved on from a pixie cut to braided pigtails, turning a hairstyle for French schoolgirls into the demonic passage for the agents of Lucifer. Sweet! This game returns from my list in 2018 because, like many other games in this video, I've put my faith in an official release date of an entire year. This time, giving it a trailer where Bayonetta dances around like it's the last minutes before a Spotify Premium runs out, while 2 giant hell monsters rip apart downtown Shibuya like a satanic remake of Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah! The God of War games star Kratos, a man wearing more fur than Paris Hilton after forgetting to pay the heating bill. A man who looks like if Bruce Willis asked his plastic surgeon for the Michael Jackson Deluxe. A man who looks like old Jason Statham after an anal bleaching session went terribly wrong. God of War Ragnarok is the sequel to a game also on the 2018 most anticipated list, where we meet the Norse God of War. And considering then I wrongly predicted Kratos would die, putting 2 Gods of War in a game called God of War Everybody Dies Now feels like going above and beyond to rub it in my face. We return to the wisecracking severed head Mimir, the older, angstier Atreus, and the hard-hitting Kratos, who pummels his fists, lashes his blades, and impales his axe with the unbridled rage of my mum after the 3rd missed call. The game is one continuous camera shot, like the previous entry, navigating the perils of Agraboda, one of the last surviving giants. Thor, vengeful after the death of his sons and brother. And, you know, the end of days as we know it. So I think my mum would want me to miss her call if it prevents all-out war in Asgard.
You do not know what Mother wanted.
With so many paint bombs, ink guns, and big splashy specials used to colour the landscape a deep shade of whoop-ass, Splatoon has to be the messiest game since the carpet on the bottom floor of that dating show where they drop someone down a hole. In Splatoon 3, you can choose to be an Inkling or an Octoling. And believe me, this game loves irrelevant choices. It'd happily force you to choose between ogres and trolls, The Flash and Quicksilver, Glee and High School Musical, Mark Strong and Stanley Tucci, mid-2000s Katy Perry and Zooey Deschanel, 20-something Angelina Jolie and Steve Buscemi, any Disney princess for the 90s, you know, fictional rubbish that doesn't really matter. There's new clothes, new stages, new weapons, even new specials like a Bakugan Transformer Lobstermus Prime and a grapple power suit that will turn you into a neon Venom. The central hub is a dense city called Splatsville, inside a desert region called the Splatlands, which, judging by the Eiffel Tower wreckage, used to be France? If I start seeing champagne bottles around art galleries, I'm going to take that as a sign that the squids are coming for war and they're starting with the French. Tunic is a top-down adventure game played with a cozy Robin Hood, Except, rather than Disney murdering historical folklore, the historical folklore wants to murder you. The game features an unknown language and a largely silent hero, meaning one of the biggest mysteries you'll want to solve is a question as old as time itself. What does the fox say? Tunic is touted as very Zelda-like, featuring all the puzzles, secrets, and fighting of a typical Christmas day with the family. And it's hard not to see it. It's got the cute toy-like look of the Link's Awakening remake, the energy gauge of Skyward Sword, and the brutal fox hunting of the British upper class. And Breath of the Wild. I really hope all the games I mentioned actually come out this year. I didn't believe No More Heroes 3 was going to happen last year, and it would have been an honour to have it in that year's list. Hey, honour? Mentions? You know what time it is. Run the list in the list. Pokemon Legends Arceus is a refreshed approach to Pokemon's loop of exploring, catching and battling by dropping you in an open environment to get actually attacked by vicious monsters. It's the most fun watching a child get ripped apart by wild animals since the comments section of Rebecca Black's Friday. This game is set in Pokemon's far past, which means Pokemon here that aren't present in the current day games technically go extinct without leaving any fossils. So, enjoy observing the death of the last ever fluffy Growlithe while contemplating humanity's willful destruction of natural life despite having enough technology to produce Pokeballs, photography, and a full-on smartphone. Horizon Forbidden West puts you in the furry fatigues of Aloy, travelling across beautiful environments using a range of tools like a grapple line, a parasail, and overpowering the will of sentient life to make them your personal pony. Aloy is working to stop a dangerous red poison spreading across the land, while fighting dangerous rebels and avoiding all the dangerous animals. So yeah, it's pretty dangerous. This game makes a cheeky return from last year's list and is followed by Horizon Call of the Mountain, a game for PlayStation VR 2, yet another established franchise embracing VR and subsequently making the platform more popular overall. If only someone suggested that in a video. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is a side-scrolling beat-em-up where you bash weapon buttons, use grabs and throws, and tear up shop with tornado attacks to vanquish armies of purple-headed disco ninjas in the middle of a workday apparently. I'll be honest, I'm into this purely for the art style. Bouncy, characterful pixel animation like seeing Cadence of Hyrule. Everything after that, like seeing April O'Neil go full Street Fighter with some camera equipment, is an added bonus. It's like watching Carrie from Sex and the City do a flying roundhouse kick on Waluigi. In an entertainment field full of generic male protagonists, it's refreshing to have a main character as a woman of colour, even if it's one of the girls from the Charlie's Angels reboot. We'll take the wins where we can. Forspoken takes Frey Holland, a young woman from New York, and thrusts her into a fantastical world known as Athia, where, like Superman arriving on a foreign planet, she has magnificent abilities like invisibility, super athleticism, and magic conjuring. Although, she still probably wouldn't walk alone through a New York park at night. Say hi to Mark on the subway. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That's right, the movie. The first film was great, and should be forever remembered as the time the internet shouted so much they changed the Hollywood production. Sure, climate change, education inequality, universal access to technology, these are all prevalent global issues. But who cares about that? We need to make sure a cartoon hedgehog doesn't have claw hands. This film sees the return of Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, who enlists the help of Knuckles, voiced by Idris Elba, to combat a crime-fighting Sonic and fuzzy Top Gun pilot Tails over the Master Emerald. Sonic 2 should work out better than Sonic Frontiers, an open-world Sonic game that will probably end up feeling like The Crew or Forza Horizon, but with blue spikes on top. Well, you know what could happen when you add Idris Elba to a racing franchise.
Look at me! I'm Black Superman!
Yeah, I couldn't do this without talking about the sequel to one of the greatest games of all time. In the original Breath of the Wild, we explored the land, and now we're exploring the sky. Getting higher than Seth Rogen's first joint on Jeff Bezos' dick rocket. I can't wait to come back to the same world 5 years later to see what's changed. To feel that warm, familiar, fuzzy feeling you get coming home from university or college. Or getting a drunk call from that one ex that does that thing with their mouth that's illegal in most American states. The calamity returns as wrinkly anime grandpa Ganon reawakens from an undead slumber after getting mysteriously groped by the genie from Aladdin and links found with the same fingerprints. The teaser trailer has nods to all the natural elements, travelling through air, shooting fire, dripping water, and moving through earth. Other fundamental rules are broken too, like rewinding the passage of time, objects defying gravity, and flouting the rules about men in kilts. Zelda plays a firm role in the game, which is ideal seeing as it's her legend after all. As long as her level of involvement is somewhere between the first game, where she's a disembodied voice in your head, and Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, where she utterly obliterates armies of Hyrule monsters like a divine remake of Godzilla or King Kong. And there we have it, my most anticipated games for 2022. But you know something I also look forward to? The Comire Corner, which features a comment from the Neon Caster from the Magenta Games video. And do you know what? You're right. It is pretty funny when a game puts so much imagination into so many species and classes and unique abilities, but as soon as a character becomes female, the only diversity is what cup size they need to be. Thanks for your comment, mate. And if anyone wants to feature in a future Comire Corner, tell me what games you're looking forward to getting in 2022. I want to know every single one and why. Let me know down below or chuck me a tweet. And once again, I've been Comire. This has been Start and Select. Thank you and good night. This forest, surrounded by withered trees, an eerie soundscape, and blankets of darkness that grew bigger and more frequent the further they travelled. They didn't know where they were, or how they got there, or if that sound was their own footsteps, or someone else's.